and then San Francisco was looking at taxing sodas, right? Because people that drink sodas tend to, like, soda leads to diabetes, basically, right? It's,
Yeah.
there's in a can of soda, there's 12 packets of sugar, right? So if you put that amount of sugar in a pile, it would look nauseating, and there's no way you would drink something with that much sugar in it. But we don't know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
people drink this poison, and it, leads to, obesity and diabetes ultimately. And then that's a huge health cost. So San Francisco was like, we're going to start taxing soda to pay for that, right?
Yeah.
Because they got a bunch of people who are on governmental programs. So, they're on Medi-Cal assistance or whatever, and then they're
Yeah.
obese and with diabetes. So, like, oh my God. Um,
So they started taxing soda extra?
it was on the ballot. I don't know if it passed. I moved out of San Francisco and didn't follow back up on that, but that
Oh
was
my
the
god.
that was the idea of the supervisors, was to tax soda to try to limit the consumption of it that way.
From
20
what I
I
understand,
just
the
read
taxes are crazy.
Yeah, I just read this statistic on homelessness the other day. I just did a podcast on it, homelessness in 2020. And there was an article by NPR on KQED written on the 18th. And they were saying there was a huge increase in homelessness in 2020 prior to the pandemic. Um, so
Good
it was
lord.
an epidemic before that. Now we've got a pandemic, and all these people. I mean, they were saying 50% of homeless people live in California and New York, 25% in Los Angeles. When I lived in San Francisco, I met a police officer. He was a 20-year veteran on the force, and he was
Mhm.
telling me that he has seen this firsthand, where he's arrested somebody, and he asked the person, "Where are you from?" They're like, "Oh, I'm from Texas." And they're like, "Really? What the fuck are you doing here?" Oh, well,
Right.
when I got arrested in Texas, they said I could either go to jail or I could get a one-way bus ticket to San Francisco. So you have
Oh my
states
god.
all over the country. So you have states all over the country, and especially Republican states like
Yeah.
Texas,
Yeah.
they send their homeless people to California. Then they wave their finger and go, "Look at California. Look how their liberal government's failing them. They can't even." Half of those homeless people aren't even from
Oh
here.
my
They came
god.
here because you won't freeze to death in California, right? You'll freeze to death, and clearly in you know Texas now.
Oh my god.
But in New York City, they have thousands of homeless deaths every year from people freezing. So you can't just have, it's got to be a nationwide solution. Otherwise, whoever has the best benefits, the people are just going to flock there, and police are going to send people there. So California
Like
is being
UBI? Like
totally
UBI maybe?
taxed.
I really want them to,
Something.
like, completely cut out the welfare system, like, completely cut it the fuck out, and do,
Really?
a yes, cut out welfare completely, and then do a, um do, like, a basic healthcare for people, preventative healthcare and, like, mental health, and, like, a universal basic healthcare. And then do, UBI, yes.
Yeah, but well, I mean, wouldn't that be the same thing though, just with a different name?
I think that, like, everybody would get UBI, and then everybody would have, like, basic healthcare, and then you could
Hmm.
choose to work, and you could choose to, like, buy healthcare insurance to get better, benefits and stuff like that.
Hopefully not
I
better
think that
benefits, but like if you want like a prestigious doctor, if you want the doctor that drives the
yeah,
Porsche and does high end, plastic
right,
surgery, you can pay for that. But you should be able to get any
yeah,
kind of, like, you need your arm fixed, you need stitches, cool,
right,
no problem.
right. It would be like emergency and preventative care and, things like
Yeah,
that,
like
like
like the way the
yeah,
rest of the world does it.
right, right. basic
Like,
basic healthcare. I think we need to completely overhaul our healthcare system. Like our
yeah,
healthcare system is so messed up. Just mental health alone is disgustingly like the whole system does not work. Um after they closed the asylums, like there was no net for these people. There was no
yeah.
net for
Thank
them
you.
to fall back on. And it was just like they just went wherever, and then they let capitalism take over, and they started making these like small facilities everywhere. But like these facilities are not equipped to handle most of these people, and we only have
And they're not free, right? So like, yeah, you nailed it. Like, when they closed the asylums, basically Ronald Reagan was overseeing that, and
yeah,
they basically told everybody, "You're free." And these are
yeah,
people who can't wipe their own ass. So
right,
now they're told, "You're free to go. Go where? I don't know, but you have to leave. You can't
yeah,
stay here." Like a bar. You don't have
hmm
to go home, but you can't stay here.
exactly. And
Unfrickin'
then
believable.
the homeless went
That
up,
that created the
crime went
homeless. Like,
up.
right, I was living in San Francisco. It was like night and day. One moment there was Skid Row, which was one street, and all the winos were there, right? And it was
Yeah,
winos. They were all passed out drunk, pissing on themselves in the middle of the day. A year later,
yeah,
now there's people all over every different part of the city, and it's a woman with two kids, it's a whole
yeah,
family,
yeah,
it's people my age. Like, whoa, what the hell
right,
happened
right.
in the
Yeah,
richest
and it's
country in the
just
world?
like, oh my God. Not only the richest country in the world, the richest state.
If
What?
California was a country, it would be like the fifth richest country in the world.
Yeah,
But that's
it's
where it gets wacky,
crazy.
because it has to be a nationwide program, right? Because otherwise, everybody's going to get sent to California, and then
Right,
California won't be able to afford it.
right.
Look what happened in Texas, right, recently. So
Yeah.
with the power outage in Texas, that
Mhm.
was the result of deregulation, the Enron scandal. Kenneth Lay,
Yeah.
he ended up going to jail for it. Dick Cheney was tied to that. It was a huge conspiracy where Dick Cheney let Enron decide our energy policy, and they literally, Texas used to have power lines going to other states for backup.
Mhm.
They
Mhm.
literally cut those power lines so they have no backup in the name of privatization so they could charge more for their energy. 10 years later, that bit them in the ass, didn't it?
Right. I'm all for capitalism, but I don't like narco capitalism.
And there's a bunch of different forms that capitalism could take, right? If you look at the structure of a co-op where the employees are shareholders in the company, that's still capitalism, but all
Right.
the profit doesn't go up to the board of directors and the shareholders. It's
Mhm.
spread out. So, yeah, I'm a fan of capitalism too, but not what we have, which is, so we don't even have a consistent system. It's winner take all if you're poor. But if you're rich, you can get bailed out by the government. So winner take
Right.
all. Up, hey, don't worry about it. We'll bail you out. Well,
Right.
what if you and I go to Vegas and we take out a mortgage on our house and we bet it
Mhm.
all on 13 black? There's no bailout.
Mhm.
So how's there a bailout for Bank of America? How's there a bailout for any of these companies? That's the game.
And
Whoops,
the
that's called
government, and that's the
capitalism.
thing. That's the thing, like the government, instead of giving it to the bottom and letting it work its way to the top,
Which
like
would
in the
work,
economic,
right?
like in the economic crash. Anyway,
But peaked in 2007, but you're right, it started well before that. Yeah.
so when they gave all these companies bailouts, instead of giving these company bailouts, they should have taken that money and given it to the bottom, and we would be in a better place right now. But instead, they
You know,
decided to give it to the banks and the
yeah.
companies, and
Yeah,
which
the absolute people that caused the problem. Yeah,
and we're
I'm
still
so glad
dealing
you
with an
brought up the
economic
bailout.
crisis.
I'm so glad you brought up exactly. We never really got out of that 2007-8 crisis.
No, we've just
The
used band-aids for it. It's just been
right,
band-aids.
like the average person hasn't gotten out of that. The average person that lost their entire savings and their house, they don't have a new house now. But people that were doing
No.
okay through that, they're killing it now
Yeah.
because
I know.
Real
And
estate
then,
prices went through the roof
right.
again.
But then the laws on these companies for real estate that they could just sell the mortgage to different places without notice and then
That should be
raising
criminal.
rates and this and that.
Packaging, yeah,
Yeah.
bundling and packaging mortgages together. So I'm going to bundle 10 mortgages with 3 shitty ones and then sell them all to you, but not
Yeah.
tell you. That should be
Yeah.
illegal.
That's why people lost their houses because like all of this happened.
This is what kills me, the underlying thing. I was just thinking about this earlier today, how our government at every turn sides with corporations over
Yes.
people. Like the
Yes.
simple example I was thinking of is telemarketers.
Yeah.
How screwed up is it that your government sells your information to companies to market you, to harass you and market you? They
Yes.
allow them to have an untraceable number
Yes.
and to operate with a phone system where we can't even call them back. Sorry, your call
Yes.
cannot be completed.
Yes.
Like, that should be illegal. It should be the other way around. Our government
Right.
should be bending over backwards to protect us from
Yes.
those companies.
Absolutely.
But
But
they don't.
instead, yes, and here's the reason why is because of lobbying and gift giving and should be illegal. And
Yeah.
that's why I liked democracy dollars. I
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
liked
Lobbying
democracy dollars.
lobbying is just bribery. I mean, it's just a
It
nice
is.
way of saying bribery. Um,
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
wanted I wanted to briefly touch on what you were saying about the bailout.
Yeah.
Because that was so upsetting. I mean, brutal, right? Like, I even knew a
Yeah.
friend who was in the stock market and he lost half of his portfolio. So he was even on the
Wow.
inside and he still got fucked. Like, unbelievable. But for the average person, it was the first time in our country's history parents were moving in with their children because they
Yes.
just lost their house. And at the same time, you're going to spew this bullshit of the American dream, make America great again. Like, wait a minute, those two things cannot coexist in the same time and space. And the numbers that I heard that were really, really disturbing proved exactly what you said. If we would have taken care of the bottom, the top
Yeah.
would have been okay. It was a plan, right? And this is hard for some people to comprehend, that there was a plan basically by corporations and bankers, but the government went along with it and they knew that the people were going to get screwed over and they were okay with that. They
Yeah.
sided with the bankers. So the numbers I heard, and this is so disturbing, is the same dollar amount that the banks were given. If that amount of money was given to the people who defaulted on their mortgages, they
Yeah.
could have paid off, not just kept them from defaulting. They could have paid off every single person's house. Now you don't even have a mortgage anymore. Imagine
Wow.
your mortgage is, say, $1,500.
Right.
Now you got $1,500 of spending money every month, and you're not going to lose your house. So now you're going to go on vacation. You might
Right.
buy a new car. You're going to buy a bunch of shit. You might buy a new big screen TV.
Right.
Instead, they gave that money to the bankers. Bank of America took their 82 million and they invested it in Iraq to build power plants.
Yeah. And then we went to
Like,
war.
what? Exactly.
And then
And
we
their
went to war.
official right, their official explanation was, well, we can get a better return on our investment in Iraq than we can in the US. And the court was like, well, we don't care. We gave you the money to stimulate the US economy.
Right. Right. And that never happened. That
And
never
they got
happened.
zero penalties. Zero penalties. Nobody went to jail.
They didn't
Unbelievable.
even not even a slap on the wrist. Okay.
They didn't even lose their freaking CEO bonuses that year.
No. Nothing. I
5
know.
million people get kicked out of their homes. And these bankers who created the problem on purpose got to keep their bonuses. Like, they should have been hung in the town square.
Yeah, absolutely. We got 9+ messages. Let's get through some of these and then keep talking because we're having a wonderful conversation.
Yeah, I apologize, people. I got a little heated there. This is a very passionate subject.
There we
You
go.
want to go or you want me to? Okay,
Hey, lady boss, another thing. Just wanted to drop one of the first message. Hopefully, wish you guys some luck and a great show today. Much love for both of you guys, two of my very favorite people on stereo. representing the UPC fam here. Can't wait for all of the amazing things that you guys have to say. I am here on vacation in Disneyland in California, and I'm still making time to reach out and spread the
Oh
love for
my
all of you guys.
God.
You know,
I
I'm not a Democrat, so let me just mention that, because a lot of people, you know, the way I talk, a lot of people think I'm a Democrat, and I'm not.
yeah.
I'm a third party person. I think they're both, it's two heads of the same snake. They're
Yeah.
both paid by the
I
same
do
people.
agree. I do agree.
And
I'm a libertarian, so
yeah, my
I'm a
analogy is like
hard I'm
our
hard
two party
libertarian.
system is like when you're leaving a concert. It doesn't really matter which door you leave the concert venue in, right? They all go to the same hallway. So that's what I
Right.
think our two parties
Right.
are.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Good evening, Lady Boss, and good evening, Mr. And Another Thing.
What's
If I had to
happening?
say my
evening,
point
Aaron.
on taxes, in my personal opinion,
Yeah, well, you know, any organization, you know, Black lives do matter, but once any organization gets big, then there's, you know, you got to look into who is behind it. Follow the money, right? Follow the money.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. Black lives do matter. Hopefully eventually I'll have little melanated babies. But
There we go.
here's my thing. Here's my thing. Did they do anything for the Black community? Did they do a damn thing about the Black community? Nope. Nope. Did they put that money into building low income housing because the project homes are falling the fuck apart? No. Did they make community centers? No. Did they lobby to change welfare laws to put the nuclear family back together? No. Did they lobby to change laws to help people from going straight from high school to prison? No. Did they help people get out of prison? No. Did they help with education? No. They took that money and they backed Democrats so Democrats could get into office. They backed a political party with all of that money. That is fucking disgusting. Because what are the Democrats doing right now? Nothing. Nothing.
Yeah, good
Except
question.
bombing Syria and fucking up the borders.
Yep, they're just doing the same old agenda.
Yep, same old fucking
regardless of
thing.
who's
It's
in power.
disgusting. It's disgusting.
So yeah, I wrote down a couple points. Let's get some messages down, but I wrote down a couple points that I wanted to talk about that Gay Republican mentioned, but I'm making notes so I can come back.
Absolutely. Let's get through some of these and then we'll go straight into the points.
Yeah, we'll circle back.
All right.
Sounds good.
Oh, and another thing, oh, and it's Lady Boss, Joey Butts in the building, and I'm getting wires crossed. I just came in the building to say hello. I say hello, and then I'm right out the door, and big docking, big mic rocking on Joey Butts, and I'm big dick docking, freestyle rocking. Hit him with a socking. She's letting me go, driving down the docking.
Joey Butts.
Joey Butts.
I miss him. I don't ever get to see him ever. Oh my god.
I think he's just back after a little hiatus. Cause
really?
Yeah, I haven't seen him in a while either, but in the last 3 days he has been omnipresent. So welcome back, Joey.
Yeah. Hey Joey.
Funny.
How you doing, baby?
He's a funny dude and he's got good energy.
Oh my god, I know I love him. He's so
I'm a
amazing.
fan. Yeah, I'm
so amazing. All right, next message.
Here, I'll hit this next one.
If you want to know what's wrong with California, it's priorities. They have a bill in the House that is going to fine retailers $1,000 for not having gender-neutral toy categories and for having a boys and a girls toy category section. Instead of addressing the failing education, the homeless crisis, the pandemic, and the economy, that's the kind of shit that they're worried about. We have cities and counties like San Francisco that created legislation to ban the use of gender-specific terms. So you can no longer say chairman or manhole. There's a fine for that. The problem with California is they care more about trying to legislate tolerance in the name of special privilege than actually solving the homeless and financial crisis affecting its citizens.
Yes, baby. Yes.
Oh my God. That makes me want to go do rebellious activist street art in San Francisco and paint a bunch of hairs around all the manhole covers.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Right?
That's hilarious.
See that fuzzy circle? That's a manhole.
Right. You're so
Oh
funny.
my God.
You get the next.
I'm such a
Sorry.
middle-aged white guy. I'm sorry. There's two genders. There's two genders, people. Sexual expression, limitless ways to express your gender and your sexuality.
Yeah.
A gender is a biological thing. You either have a pee-pee or you have a vajayjay, or you have both or a combination of the two. So there's hermaphrodites, which is a glitch in the matrix, and you have a little bit of both, or you're a male or female. Now, what you want to do with that is up to you.
Right.
But this whole conversation about gender makes me insane. Gender is nothing to do with psychology. It's biology.
Exactly. And gender dysphoria is a type of mental illness. It is in the dysphoria category. I mean, that's just what it is. There's also dysphorias that have to do with cutting off your arm because you don't recognize it as your arm.
Right. Right. And you know, and ultimately, don't we want to just be Buddhist about this? And I'm not judging. I accept everybody. I lived in San Francisco for 20 years, never had a problem with any group of people. I judge people on an individual basis on how you treat me. So wouldn't the money be better spent on psychology, on mental health, instead of lopping off one of your body parts? Go treat the problem, which is you don't feel okay. Why? Why do you not feel okay? What is wrong in your head that you are not accepting where you are in this thing we call life?
Yeah.
Because the Buddhist has, you know, there's a great Buddhist quote, and it's the root of unhappiness is wanting things to be different than they are.
Yep.
The cause of suffering is wanting things to be different than they are. Yep. So, bam, gender. Hello, you are what you are. Right. You don't see a hummingbird going, damn it, I really feel like a blackbird.
Exactly.
What the fuck?
Exactly. And yes, there is arguments that says, well, there are animals like the seahorse that do not gender, but the thing is that's their natural habitat.
Yeah.
Our natural habitat is not to do that. There is something wrong.
Right. Snails have both. Each snail is a male and female.
Yeah.
So that's mind-blowing. But every snail is like that. Or most of them. It's the normal. It's the majority. There is no normal and abnormal or whatever. There is actually abnormal and normal because it's based on norms. But here we get so PC with this where you're like, you're saying I'm not normal? That means I'm abnormal? That means I'm inferior? No, nobody said you're inferior. You're freaking out.
And that's the thing. That's the thing.
Normal or abnormal?
Yes. People are finding self-worth in victimhood and in oppression these days.
Right.
So they are making up these tiny subcategories that like in the smaller of a group you're in, right?
Oh my God.
More of a title
LGBTQIA. Now we have I and A. Intersex? What the fuck is that? And asexual is now a category? No, I'm sorry. You're just choosing to not have sex right now. But these are people that are like, there's this phenomenon. It's like, well, how do I feel? What am I? Get over yourself. Get over yourself. How about that? How about we get over being about me?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Snowflake syndrome. goddamn
Yeah.
snowflakes.
Yeah. How long do you last on a summer day? Oh, it's too hot.
Right. And here's my thing. I work in mental health. I've worked in mental health for 10 years. I promise you, we are not special. We're not.
No, I'm not, I am not fucking special. I'll be the first person to say it.
Uh-uh.
I think I'm
But
smarter
that's
than a few
okay.
folks, but
Yeah.
put me in a bigger group. There's a bunch of people smarter than me. I am
Right.
not fucking special.
We're just people living we're people peopling. Like,
Thank you.
why do
Right?
you have to be special? Why do you have to That's the thing. There's a
Right.
difference between expressing yourself and
And being
actively trying to be
special.
different and being special.
Right.
Yes, and the
Right.
thing is we're not special. We're not.
You don't see like I don't know, name any animal. You don't see them getting a grill and being like, "Look
Mm-mm.
at my teeth! Look at my teeth!
No.
Look how cool my teeth are!"
Right.
We
And
are
it's
a fucked up
okay.
animal.
All right, let me
May
tell
the
you how
poet.
it's going on in Vegas here right now because it is not working. Our dear Mayor Carolyn Goodman decided, about a year and a half ago to have the homeless being picked up off the streets because they were everywhere. Well, they tore down the shopping center next to my house, which was a basic base for a lot of homeless. That's been gone now for about a year and a half. So the deal is now the cops find them. You call Metro, which is really annoying, and you tell them where you see them at. They go ahead and they nudge them up off the street, give them addresses to shelters, and hope to get a bed there. But the shelters are so overbooked that they're still sleeping on the streets, by my
Oh
house,
yeah.
by the universities, etc. So the only
Hmm.
option is if a cop sees the same homeless person again, you go to jail. And the jails
Yep.
are overpopulated with all sorts of
Yep.
crazy people and or refined. So this is not working in Vegas, period.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not working anywhere. Here in my hometown, they do the same thing, except they'll even destroy your tent and take all your shit, then
Oh
send
my
you to
God.
jail. So you get out of jail, now you got no tent and all your possessions are gone. Awesome.
Good Lord.
Like,
That's criminal.
isn't that some Nazi shit? Like, here's somebody's
Yeah.
totally down and out. All their shit's in a shopping cart and they got a tent. You destroy their tent
Mhm.
on purpose and then you throw their shit away? That should be criminal.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's inhumane.
Yeah.
For sure it's inhumane. Oh my
Oh yeah,
God.
definitely.
And I
Definitely.
see this right here, right in my face all the time. I'm in Sonoma County, which is, it's pretty temperate, Northern California, an hour north of San Francisco, and 150,000 people, 1,000 homeless people, and
Yeah.
there's only like 700 beds. So every
Mhm.
night there's 300 to 500 people with no place to go.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. All right, we got 20 messages. I'm gonna pop through
Oh
some
my
of them.
God.
I
Let's
know.
do it.
What's up? And another thing, Lady Boss, how you guys doing?
Hey,
Stopping by the
Derek, how
show,
you
show
doing,
some love.
sweetie?
What we got going on today? I was kind of chopping it up with Gale Force a minute ago over some things, but yeah, just let me know what's going on.
Hey,
Gale
how you
Force win.
doing? How you doing?
Welcome. Thank you for being here, Derek.
Wait, boss. Hold on a second. You just
Whoa,
said
whoa,
you
whoa,
wouldn't
whoa.
mind your exact words were, I wouldn't mind Walmart being the biggest thing or Amazon being the biggest thing. But yet you just said that these gas and electric companies, you don't want them to be monopolized. But you just said that you don't mind Walmart and Amazon being the big things. So what's that about?
No. In context, okay, what I'm saying is I don't care if they're the biggest companies. I want to see smaller companies though. I want there to be options, right? So when Walmart fucks up everything or when Amazon fucks up everything, then we have an option to go somewhere else. And the same thing with the electric and gas companies. I think that they should be split into something else other than this or government regulated. Like
Mhm.
heavily government regulated.
Yeah, and
because
see, I
they
don't
are
think that's a bad
a
thing.
need.
To be government regulated, I don't think that's a bad thing. And
Well,
for
normally I
certain
would say
industries,
no,
like you're
but
saying, for
certain,
certain
yeah.
industries, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like with democratic socialism in Europe, certain industries are off limits for profit. So the government has their hands in them to prevent
Yeah.
monopolies, like the power industry, the healthcare industry, and the education industry,
Right.
to name a few. So certain things like that,
Oh, he's reconnecting.
Oh, I guess it's about profit and shareholding and investments and stuff. Okay, now I'm in.
You there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I just got a phone call. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Anyway, yeah. Yeah, no. I don't think I don't mind having a company that's bigger than all the others, as long as there are others.
Yeah, I'm not for monopolies in any way, shape, or form, and I think the only way they get to be is by them getting preferential legislation over other
Yeah.
companies, like either tax benefits or it should just be a level playing field for everybody. Like if
Yeah.
you have a small business, Amazon shouldn't get any better deal than you. Like, straight
Absolutely.
up.
And here's another thing. If a company starts in America, I think that there needs to be laws that it stays in America. Because here's the thing, when you work at a company and you have an idea and you quit, that idea stays with the company.
Right.
Why doesn't our company stay with America?
Thank you. And I'll even take that. I totally agree with you. I've been thinking about this for a decade. And in my take on it is, if you're a US company, say you're AT&T, and you want to go to China, fine, but you still have to pay the US minimum wage, and you still have to abide by EPA regulations and everything. So you don't get to go over there and just rape people and rape the environment.
Yep.
And take advantage and cost us jobs. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but you're going to pay for the U.S. military to protect you. You're going to pay for your workers to have a decent life and retirement. You're going to pay because this country enabled you to become Amazon or AT&T. By the military protecting you, by our highway system paid for by the taxpayers, by our airports, our roadways, our bridges, our dams, all of our infrastructure is paid for by taxpayers. And Jeff Bezos would not be Jeff Bezos without that infrastructure and without the U.S. military protecting him and his company. So they got to pay for that.
Absolutely, I agree 100%. You want to hit one of these?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're wondering why the banks got the money rather than homeless people or poor people. I'll tell you why.
No, homeowners.
The big banks basically run this country. They hold all of our money. That's why we have credit cards, bank accounts. If the banks that hold our money don't get money, America is fucked. Look at 1928, the Great Depression. Look at 2008. We went through a recession there. Now, if you gave the money to poor people, yeah, they're fine. But now the banks have no money. Now, do I agree with what the banks are doing with their money? No. But they still have enough money after doing their crooked shit, which I get, like I said, I don't agree with, to where they could fund themselves and America could keep moving forward. Again, it would be nice if the poor people got the money, but without the banks, without their money, America is fucked.
No, it's not the poor people. It's not the poor people that it's the regular people that would get the money.
We weren't talking about giving a handout to poor people. What we're talking about is the 5 million people that lost their houses. If the money was given to them instead of the bank, the banks wouldn't have gotten fucked. So Lady Boss has a house.
Yeah.
Lady Boss has a house. She has a mortgage. She can't pay her mortgage. Instead of giving Bank of America the money, I'm going to give Lady Boss the money. That way Lady Boss pays her mortgage. The mortgage company stays in business. The title company stays in business. The realtors stay in business, and the banks get their money. They never were not paid, so they're fine. There's no fucking problem. They got paid. We're not talking about giving poor people a handout. What we're talking about is taking care of the situation, fixing the economy, and not evicting 5 million people from their homes in the richest fucking country in the world. And dude, we were brainwashed to think exactly what you just said. And that's bullshit. What that was is the largest transfer of wealth upward in our lifetime until the COVID stimulus. That $4 trillion COVID stimulus is now the new largest transfer of wealth upward.
Yeah.
So it's a double fucking of the working class done by George Bush Jr., by Obama, started by Clinton, started by, by Nixon, if you want to go back to that. Nixon started the drug war, expanded the government, came up with the DEA. Bush created the Patriot Act, doubled the size of the NSA. Obama kept all that going, kept torture going, kicked 5 million people out of their houses, paid off the bankers. By the way, Citibank told Obama who his cabinet was going to be, and 21 people on the list that Citibank gave Obama ended up in Obama's cabinet. So who runs the government? Citibank does.
Yeah. It's disgusting. All right, we got to get. We're so behind on messages. I'm like freaking out.
All right, I'm going to shut up.
All right, let's get
biting
this.
my tongue. Biting my tongue.
Hey.
Matty Wash.
What's up, Lady Boss?
What's up, buddy?
And I literally just got in. You just started playing messages, and I heard about the money given to the banks to spend in Iraq. So I'm not sure if you're talking about 2008 or if you're talking about this past pandemic, $4.4 trillion that was poofed out of the air. But I tell people if they decided, I love the idea that they should have just paid everyone mortgages off. That would have been sweet. That would have been smart. Let me rephrase.
So simple.
But they also could have gave every person in America over the age of 18 $26,000 with that money that went to the PPP nonsense. Anyway, just gonna be listening.
Yeah.
Matty Wash. Much love, Matty Wash. I was listening to you and Mrs. Smitty last night.
Matty Wash is amazing. He's absolutely amazing. I love the hell out of him.
Knowledgeable and very chill too. I like his energy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit another bubble before I get started on topic.
Okay, can you guys please talk about how we're spending $86 million on hotel rooms for illegal immigrants, but our own National Guard slept on the cement floor of a garage, and we continue to have an unprecedented housing crisis in this country? What the fuck? Like, when are we going to realize that we should spend more money on Americans first before helping everybody else? Not to mention the stimulus packages, allocating money for gender studies in Pakistan. Hello.
Yes, baby boy. I agree 100%. I agree 100%.
I'm pulling my hair out. Me too. I'm not even going to comment because otherwise there goes 20 more minutes. But I totally agree. And oh my God, 86 million. Wow, I got to check into that. But thank you for that information. I'm taking notes, people. I got my pen and paper right here.
Matty Wash, you're next.
Yes, like you're talking about leaving the party. Like I just heard gay Republicans thing, and that's the problem. Is that my team is the right team and does the good things, and so both teams are doing crappy things. Both teams are in the pocket of the corporations. We have a separation of church and state. I think the new America, the next America, needs to have a separation of church and corporation. And
thank you.
But they point to the other team. Look what crappy things they did. So we're righteous, and they point to the other ones. Look what crappy stuff they do, and we're righteous. And you're both doing crappy things. You're just ignoring because you're waving your pom-poms what your team is doing. It's so silly. Like, I don't even understand why people fall for this nonsense.
Libertarianism.
Maddie,
Let's go libertarian.
Maddie Wash, I totally agree, dude. And I don't understand how more people don't see this, because you see these people at cocktail parties and they're all hanging out together. You know, Trump went to the Clintons' weddings. The Clinton goes to Trump's cocktail parties. They're friends. They just pretend all this shit in public, but they're all like George Carlin said, it's one big, you know, clique, and you're not in it.
Yep.
You know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree.
I don't see how people don't see that. You know, when one party is in, like the Republicans, you know, they point the finger at the Democrats and then they take shit so hard. And then the Democrats do the same thing. Oh, how bad were the Republicans? Oh my God, George Bush was so horrible. And then Obama drops more bombs than any president before him. Like, what? And got the Nobel Peace Prize. Like, what?
Right. Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look over here. Look over here.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Fucking amazing.
It is.
Yeah,
all right. Gay Republican. Let's go.
So we're seeing this race culture war. At first, it was trans lives that matter. And then it was Black lives that matter. And now it's Asian lives that matter. I don't know about y'all, but it's beginning to look like all lives matter. How about that?
How about it? You know, and that's ultimately the truth, but we can't say that right now because it's not PC right now, because, you know, certain groups are being victimized more than others, right? Like,
yeah.
So
absolutely.
My life matters just as much as anybody else's, but I don't go around saying that because I'm a white, middle-aged fucking dude, you know? So, like, my quote-unquote demographic isn't hurting, you know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, but, I mean, at the same time, it's cause and effect as well. Yes, everybody's lives matter. Black lives matter. Asian lives matter. Everybody does matter. Now, I think that as far as systemic racism, I think that what we're feeling now is an effect of systemic racism in the past.
Oh yeah.
100%.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time,
we're being told to look at each other instead of the system, right?
Right. And see, what I'm worried about is when different movements haven't, just like when the feminist movement went a little extreme, then you had the man movement, right? With the what was mocap or some dumb shit like that.
Man buns unite.
Right. The ones that are like the real misogynists. You know, and then you have their numbers are growing with the feminist movement, right? So with when people looked and seen white people in chains being paraded through streets and white people being lynched over the summer and white people you know, being like all of this stuff, then the Nazi movement started growing in America. Like, this is crazy. We need to find a balance. Because this is going to get really dangerous really, really fast. And we're headed towards a civil war.
Yeah. And I don't see how people don't see the common enemy as the 1%. Like,
yeah, like this only happens every 4 years, guys.
Right.
This only happens every 4 years. Everything blows up every 4 years, and it's disgusting.
Don't take the bait. Don't take the bait. We're all so much more alike than we are different. The people that are different are the people that don't have to ever get up and go to work, and their grandkids don't ever have to get up and go to work, and they sit and spend their time thinking about how they can control the future of humanity. Yeah. Those are the people we need to fucking focus on, you know?
Absolutely.
The Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, how are they even allowed to be in this day and age? Like, wow, blows my mind.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right,
with
we got
the
Maddie
level
Wash.
of criminality.
Yeah, we got Maddie Wash up next.
Maddie Wash coming up.
I'm not going to get too deep into Black Lives Matter. However, I hear this argument all the time. What Lady Boss is saying, the Black Lives Matter. The Black Lives Matter is a group that was designed. Now, again, I'm not saying if they're right or wrong, but I'm just attacking the argument that's being made. Black Lives Matter is a group that was designed to fight for people who were being accosted by police, Black people who were unarmed, and that's what they were. Because they're called Black Lives Matter does not mean they are an organization that does low cost housing, or then people are like, oh, what about Chicago? That like they're not an all encompassing Black organization. They have a very specific purpose.
Right, but instead of changing laws to prevent, and if they really were trying to help, then they would have helped. But instead they didn't.
I see what you're saying, but I mean, so they got their focus, but we need another group to step up and take on housing, and another group to do this and that. But, you know, that's originally what the Black Panthers was. There's a great documentary for everybody to check out. It's called Vanguard for the Revolution, and it's about the Black Panthers and how they rose up out of a situation like this to stop the murder of Black people in Oakland. And they became a community support network too. But the government came down hardcore on them, assassinated and incarcerated every single member, giving the entire Black community a message like, hey, don't fucking do what those people did or we're coming for you.
Right.
And ever since, the Black community has been, in Oakland specifically, has been like terrorized, you know. Just recently in Oakland, there was the Group of Five or Gang of Five, I forget, but this is out of a movie. This is like straight out of the movie Training Day, but this is real life. There were 4 or 5 cops who were pimping a 13-year-old prostitute, and they were trading her and selling her to other officers.
Democratic Party done for any community other than
nothing.
Business?
Nothing. Zero. Matty Wash.
And again, I know I'm leaving a lot of messages now, but that argument really annoys me. It's like saying, it's like going to the United Negro Fund and saying, why aren't you building why aren't you helping the people in jail, Black people in jail? Why aren't you helping build low-cost housing? They're like, we're the United Negro College Fund. That's where our money goes towards. Yeah, but you took in this much money. You really don't care about Black people if you're not. No. So Black Lives Matter is a stupid name. And, well, not really stupid name. It was a movement. And the organization of it and where the money goes, I don't know that much about it, studying that. I just get annoyed when people say Black Lives Matter should be like the over-encompassing. Why aren't you doing anything for the Black people in Africa? Aren't they Black too? It's just the name of the organization.